first time speaking as well. So I'm a bit nervous, and we're nervous to you be with that, but it's such a pleasure to be here. So, my name is Jean van Estephan, and in a few minutes, I'm going to be driving a car. I can actually show you it. Just a little four-wheel drive, the chassis, but with my face, my brain. So I think it'll be a little tough to show since there are people in the back, but we'll do our best. Um, but this took me 2 months to make, and in those 2 months, I've had all the experience that I have right now. That's it. I have 2 months worth of experience with all of this. I will say before I start that the mind controlled part is it's a little stranger and simpler than mind control makes it seem, but I'll explain that later. So to start, let's meet the car. So it's a four-wheel drive that you drive with your face. We have this headband known as the Muse 2, and it is originally a headband used for meditation, but I have wired it to follow three different protocols. And the first one being clenching your jaw drives the car forward. The harder you clench, the faster it goes. Raising your eyebrows reverses it backwards. And then it's not just a straight line thing. You can tilt your head and have it turn. And if you want full Tokyo drift stuff, you can also just pull the Kochi button and it runs around the car. So as I said, the honest part is that the brain control part oversells it a little bit. What it actually does is it registers tiny electrical signals from my face as I do certain facial gestures. And then those signals are then sent to the car and the motors then work. So it's not thoughts, but it's deliberate, it is reliable, and it is repeatable. So before I do that, a little bit about me. I have a little bit of an obsession, or I had it growing up, with Iron Man. Now, it's not the flying or the fighting parts, although that's pretty cool, but rather the fact that Tony Stark can build his way out of any hole. Stuck in a cave, build a suit. Dying, invent a new element. I think that's pretty cool. And so that idea that you can just engineer your way out of anything kind of stuck with me. However, growing up, I always thought that this was limited to people that knew what they were doing, the professionals, the people that knew how to code, the people that had the experience, the people that started a very long time ago, that I was a little too late in this area. That all changed as I learned that we now live in a builder's era, that AI has helped open the door. I will get back to the door being opened a little bit later, but it is a great start. And so I had never built tech before, nothing. Maybe just a few projects for school, but those weren't my ideas. So this is my first actual idea, something I thought of. Now it's true. So let's get started just a little bit. So I'm studying mechatronics engineering. So we built different projects in university, to do with cars also, where there's a camera on the top and it stays between two lines. There's an infrared sensor and it kind of detects based off of the color of the ground that it's on and follows the path. But as I was searching for a project for my internship, which I am now completing today, I just kept thinking I want to do something that I'm comfortable with, but something a little different as well. So I kept thinking, okay, making a car is fun. It's always cool to build this from scratch. So I buy the individual parts and then put it all together. But I needed something different. And I kept thinking, okay, I need something to think about and then take it from my brain to the real world. I kept thinking brain to world, brain to action. And so I thought of it. I said, well, I can build a car. That's the part I'm comfortable with. But the challenging, the new bit can be using my brain to control it, or my face, as I mentioned. And so that's where it started. What I've realized throughout these last 2 months is that with AI, the gap between having an idea you care about and it becoming reality has basically collapsed. So the way this all works is I whiteboarded the whole thing, the Claude code. And what that looked like was I would speak to it, have a full-on conversation, ask it about things. I'd ask it to search the web for the newest of the new when it comes to specific areas, and it would give me the information. Then we would talk about it back and forth. We also spoke about different hardware things, what would go well with other picks and what wouldn't. And then that's how it kind of went from there. We started building it. Now, there are four stages to how this car works. The first stage is this sitting on my head, and it connects to Bluetooth to my laptop. I'll show you the user interface in a second. It registers all signals that I do based off of the three that I mentioned before. So the head tilt, the jaw clenching, and the raising of the eyebrows. And then what it does is the browser reads those signals, so no cloud, just browser. It reads those signals and sends a tiny command to over Wi-Fi to the ESP32 on the device. For those that don't know what an ESP32 is, it's a microcontroller that speaks in JavaScript. It receives all commands in JavaScript, and then it drives the motives. Now, the fun problem I faced while doing this is telling the gestures apart, because for something as small as this that sits on your head, clenching your jaw and raising your eyebrow, kind of it just all looks like muscle noise to it. So that was something I had to go through. Now, the solution I found is where everything lands. And so the clench would activate all the nodes on the Muse 2. So all nodes would be active, whereas the eyebrows would be more central towards the forehead. So I kind of separated with them, followed the pattern, and then found a solution. But there's no machine learning or data of any sort. It's just recalibration. So it works for everyone. Anyone can just put it on, go to the UI, recalibrate to see their head and how their muscles work, and then it's done. Now, so a comedy of problems. Now, I went through 4 counterfeit motor chips. So the one that's actually working right now is the 5th. I've ordered 4 previous ones and they all didn't work.
What color about that?
Sorry?
What about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just off the Amazon. But they didn't work. They either didn't fit in with the other pieces, or there were certain limits that just weren't taken into account. This is where Claude and I kind of argued back and forth a little bit. But then when it came time to the 5th one, I kind of decided, hey, I'm going to use my mechatronics background and actually do a little bit of research myself. And then I ordered this 5th one, which now works. I've also gone through 2 other ESP32s that both fried. So I just started heating up, started smoking a little bit. You could smell flames in the house. So it wasn't fun, but it was, we're here now. I also went through textbooks that were just flat out wrong about my hardware. They would say that this should all behave in a certain way, and it did not follow that at all. So it was a little bit difficult to go through. And then, as I just mentioned, another thing was signals just sounded like noise. So it was a little bit tough to do, but this is what I realized is very common in building. As you build, you will go through things, and as I would do my stand-ups during my internship, my supervisor kind of made it a big point to always say, listen, take some time before you send the stand-up and think of what will go wrong, because something will go wrong. And so I've learned that it can very well go wrong. But now, let's do a live demo. So I'm going to So this is the UI. So this is what the UI looks like. So the Muse, as you can see, is already connected. The car is already connected. Now that I've just placed the Muse on, what I can do is I can recalibrate. So I'm going to stay safe for a second. You will just take 5 seconds. It gets used to me and what I'm doing right now. And also I can calibrate the head tilt. So this is the central point. Then I have a start listening button. So right now nothing is happening. You can see that the nodes are all active. And you can also see that when I clench my jaw, the forward lights up, but nothing is happening because it's not listening yet. So this will be a little bit tough to show the people in the back, but I guess I can just make it work a little bit. I can also lift it up in a second and show you how to let spin. But as I click start listening, I can then just make it go forward. So these all express through my hair. I can then raise my eyebrows and have it kind of move back to where it was. But as I said, it's not just forward and backwards. You can make it turn as well. So as I clench my jaw, I can tilt my head. More I tilt, the bigger of a turn. But I can just make it drive around. So maybe in the demo part, I can just drive it around the room for people that want to see it. But for those in the back, I can kind of show you a little bit. So as I hold it up, I can raise my eyebrows and you see the wheels go backwards, but you can't tell it's backwards. And that's forwards. That is how it works. It's fairly straightforward. I've also gone through a few different steps to ensure that nothing can go wrong in the sense that maybe the news disconnects, maybe the browser disconnects. So if it's in the process of driving, it will automatically stop as soon as either the news disconnects. So I can maybe try it by reversing and then disconnecting the news, and you see within half a second it just stops. And so now it doesn't listen to any commands, it doesn't do anything, even though it's still listening. But those were just some of the precautions that I took just to make sure that nothing can go wrong. Um, so that's what the UI looks like. You see all nodes are connected, but the news is disconnected, so it's just frozen now. And then you had a command log at the bottom. These sensitivity bars are to my head, but this is where anyone can wear it. Because as soon as you recalibrate and then you fine tune the little things just to make sure it's not too strict or not too loose, but it's perfect for you, you can then drive it. There's no specific requirements that we need to be able to drive it. But now, as we go back, just before I end, um, I just want to say that very clearly, this is not because most of you in here can code, and a lot of you can code a lot better than I can, given my 2 months experience. So today, the lesson I'm trying to kind of give off is not a learning to code kind of thing, or kind of story, but rather it's a little simpler. It's just that for me at least, I always wanted to wait until I felt ready. But I realized very, very quickly that that's just the wrong mindset. That because, as I said at the beginning, because of AI, the doors have been open. But what does change is the bar for how well something is done has not been dropped. That still is required by us. So the taste needs to be given by us. Um, so AI has opened the door. I think it's a pretty cool thing. I think it's the first time in history that we just anyone can start. But I think AI can very, very, very well do any wrong code very beautiful. It can mess up very beautiful. And so I think that's where we need to come in and just kind of sprinkle a little bit of our taste in it as well. For me, it was a little bit of Tony Stark stubbornness as well, if I may say that. And it was just great. So any ideas you have, start building before you feel ready, and then come afterwards and drive the car. Yeah, thank you for listening.